This marks Juan Roldan's first competitive fight since his loss to Marvelous Marvin Hagler 3 years earlier, a bout where Roldan contended that an injury to his hand prevented him from pulling off the upset. After a hiatus in 1985, Roldan returns to the ring in 1986 with 9 victories in his native Argentina, fighting several times in the light heavyweight division. But he returns to the 160-pound weight class for a face-off against longtime contender James "the Heat" Kinchen. The Heat is coming off a decision loss to Iran Barkley, and there are questions about how much he has left in the tank. He is now working with legendary trainer Eddie Futch, a change that his manager felt would make Kinchen more effective. Futch wanted Kinchen to stand and fight more, but against Roldan, this proved to be a mistake.
This is still very much in the title picture. The loser would fall back considerably, as there are a lot of young middleweights coming along, the likes of Alajade and Nunn and Iran Barkley, several others that could take the opportunity from the loser of this bout. Kinchen in white, Roldan in red.
Tim, here you have the number 2 ranked middleweight in the world in Roldan. He's boxing an underneath bout in this great world championship fight between Marvelous Marvin and Sugar Ray. It reminds me of the time when Sugar Ray boxed Benitez and Hagler boxed the underneath bout against Vito Antuofermo. In 6 months, you can be watching this guy fight either one of these guys. The winner could be fighting for the championship of the world.
But he has wins over Teddy Mann, Frank Fletcher, and J.B. Williamson. At that time, Williamson, a light heavyweight, and Roldan as well.
Then when he knocked Fletcher out, it was a devastating knockout, and it was in his same ring. He can punch, no question about that.
Kinchen was very disappointed after his loss to Iran Barkley. But he's getting another opportunity here against Roldan.
Well, in the Barkley fight, he just was not active enough. Barkley just kept getting the edge every round because he was the busier fighter.
Big right hand by Roldan as we approach the end of round 1. Landed to the ear of Kinchen. Initial discussion causing that long delay. And solid punches by Roldan to open round number 2. Caught Kinchen. Kinchen, the white trunks, red trim, and Roldan in the red trunks. Ryan and Gil Clancy with pleasure joining Jim Hill here in Las Vegas. A warning from Carlos Padilla to Kinchen, and Kinchen comes right off the warning with a scoring combination.
Well, maybe that will wake him up, Tim. He's just such a methodical fighter. That's his big fault.
And now, Roldan's head, certainly an inviting target as he carries that left hand low, and he's right there in front of Kinchen.
But Tim, he moves his head pretty good, bends his knees. It's an elusive target, very deceiving.
Round 2 of this 10-round scheduled middleweight bout.
Incidentally, that's what Leonard told me that he was going to do with Hagler. So I'm going to stay in front of him, use a lot of body movement, move my head, make him miss and counter. He said, I'm not going to use my legs the way people think I'm going to use them.
Under the 30-second mark we go in this second round.
Same right hand again, Tim.
Another right hand, a lead scored. Roldan finding the target with that right.
There it is again. Time after time.
Final seconds of the second round. Well, still on his feet in his quarter, Juan Domingo Roldan. Kinchen's last outing was in October of 1986, the 10-round decision loss to Iran Barkley. Prior to that, he had 3 wins and then had lost in 12 to Schuler.
First right-hand lead by Kinchen by Roldan, hit Kinchen right on the fire. Just walked right there. He nailed him with it again.
We're in round number 3. It will be hard to believe that he could withstand those bombs for much longer to follow live around the world on closed circuit. via satellite. 50 countries will be seeing the action tonight. Watching this bout right now, Roldan and Kinchen.
Kinchen is just being outworked.
Halfway
1,
through
2,
the third round.
no counter. Thought he was butted, Roldan. Checked his eye to see if it was cut.
Good right counter by Kinchen, and they both scored on the next exchange.
Roldan better have more ammunition than just that right-hand lead, because no matter what, after a while, Kinchen's going to have to figure something out so he can't get hit with it. That's all. That seems to be the only ammunition that Roldan has at the moment. Right-hand leads.
Certainly doesn't do anything with that jab. When he does move it, it's just kind of a paw. 30 seconds remaining in the third round, scheduled for 10. James Kinchen with wins over Buster Drayton, Alex Ramos, Billy Sutherland. During his career, knowing that this is the big one for him tonight. Good combination by Roldan.
And Kinchen flared right back, Tim.
In round number 3.
We both got paid every time.
I won't even ask who holds the upper hand in the record matches against each other.
You know I'm way ahead of him.
It's funny, he told me just the opposite.
That's because he can't count.
This is round number 4. Juan Domingo Roldan and James Kinchen.
Tim, you're right. All Roldan does is call with that left hand and throw wide right hands. I mean, that's not much of an attack to figure out. That was a good left hook by Roldan. But Kinchen just is not an active fighter. Another good slapping hook by Roldan.
Another right hand scored. Able to land it at will, and then every now and then he throws that left hook.
Kinchen's one of those guys, Tim. I've seen fighters like him to get back in the locker. Oh boy, look at that call at the deer, huh? You stay back.
What weight division is he in?
How do you like that?
Show a little muscle backing up Roldan, too. As we look around this packed arena, you can almost feel it in the air. Even though the fans are enjoying the action here, there's an anticipation rather than an involvement. They're here for the Hagler-Leonard fight, that's for sure.
Tim, this is the toughest spot for two fighters to be in. Everybody waiting for that big super fight to take place, and these guys trying to entertain them. In the meanwhile, it's tough.
Final seconds of round number 4.
Put it up. Okay, here we go.
Round number 5. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy with Jim Hill. Bringing you this middleweight action now. James Kinchen in the white trunks, Juan Domingo Roldan in red. Just to reiterate, in case I had confused anybody other than myself, in the comeback by Roldan since the Hagler fight, 9 of his 11 victories.
No emotion. It's okay. Nice punch. That's a problem, you know, because I know he has the technical ability.
Well, it's the will to win, and that's going to play such a role in the fight to follow, Hagler-Leonard. What's so terrific about this sport, there's a lot more than the technical skills involved. It's great to have those, gives you an advantage, but heart and will to win seem to really measure the great ones. Big right hand again by Roldan.
Tim, he's just walking in at will because he doesn't have to pay. If he misses, Kinchen doesn't count it.
Did land a right hand there.
Yeah, good jolting right hand.
Another right to the ear from Roldan. And another.
It's like chopping a tree down. He just keeps boom, boom, boom with the right hand.
A little blood from the nose of Roldan. As
Maybe
we come into the final seconds of round 5. Wild miss at the bell. No harm, no foul. And scoring at will.
You know, speaking of minds, Dr. Joy's brothers from Rockaway Beach is a fight fan. You know, she won a big quiz show on television.
I remember that
About
years
boxing.
ago.
Now,
Yeah.
that's the one they should get to psychoanalyze these fighters. You know,
right.
These Rockaway Beach people know these things.
You wouldn't be from Rockaway Beach, would you? We're in round number 6. And toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring. Roldan putting some extra pressure on and unable to move back Kinchen. Another right landed.
Can't miss with that right hand.
Kinchen take a punch. That's been established. Well, another right hand. That moved him.
I'm telling you, it's like a lumberjack chopping a tree down.
Who knows what lies down the road after tonight?
That's right, Tim. And, you know, despite the fact that Hagler already stopped Roldan, there was a lot of controversy because Roldan was doing very, very good.
Yeah.
Up until the time of either the punch or the thumb, when the glove or the thumb went into his eye.
A minute to go in round 6. Well, those are pure speculations, I grant you, but there is a certain amount of irony involved if they happen to occur with Monzon, no doubt, would be at ringside for that bout. Great Argentinian middleweight champion. Years past, and he was handled by Tito Lecturi. And now Roldan.
Now Kinchen is starting to throw a couple of nice short little combinations inside.
Under the 30-second mark we go. The boxers have been getting at closer quarters in this round. Final seconds of round 6. Scheduled for
Kinchen's
10.
left eye, Tim, is starting to close.
Well, he's had at least a dozen solid rights land on it.
The end swell is a piece of metal that they keep in the ice bucket. Here we go. It's just the same as rubbing an ice cube on the eye, except that you can get more pressure with the end swell, and it just pushes the fluid out of the eye, and hopefully gets rid of the swelling.
Now, Dr. Omansky examined it, and now they're pointing a little under the right eye, which is less of a problem at the moment for him than the left. Eddie Futch doing the work in the corner. And again, Roldan stood through the entire minute rest period. Round number 7, scheduled for 10.
He's just so much more active than Kinchen. He's dancing, he's bouncing. Strong. You know, Tim, look, Kinchen stands up there, the perfect classic stance, beautiful balance, everything else, and yet a guy that looks awkward like Roldan is actually outboxing him. It goes to show you that boxing is a very, very complicated sport.
Kinchen's eyes now swollen, both sides. Taking a lot of punishment.
Low blow by Kinchen, very low. And that is back to the referee, no warning.
Final seconds of the 7th round. Dan continues to be relentless. Round number 8 of the scheduled 10-rounder. Tim Ryan, Joe Clancy with Jim Hill, and it would appear to me, on our scorecard at least, that shutout is being pitched here by Juan Domingo Roldan. He might give the first round or even to Kinchen, but we've given everything else to Roldan.
And Eddie Futch, as we all heard, said you have to be first. You got to be first. As soon as the bell rang, Roldan came out and he was first.
Another of those sneaky little kind of half uppercuts he throws. And a big right hand. Another right hand.
And he's slapping Kinchen all over the place.
High energy from Roldan. It was obviously tremendously well prepared for this bout. He caught up. Fight began. Another right. Snapping back the head of Kinchen.
Wobbled Kinchen a little bit that time, Tim. Little rocky.
Kinchen has not been stopped in his 2 defeats. That one landed right at the top of the head.
I don't think Kinchen's landed 4 solid punches the entire fight, and Roldan's walking around him with his hands down.
Little blood from the nose of Roldan. Serious. He is in command of this bout. Barring the big punch from Kinchen, Roldan would appear to have seized the opportunity to get himself right back into the middleweight title picture. 1 minute to go in round 8. Another big right hand.
That was a hard right hand, Tim. A little more body into that one. Kinchen knows he's in trouble right now.
Roldan may not be elegant, but he's effective.
Darn right. He's so relaxed and very, very relaxed guy inside. That was a new punch he just showed us then, right hand to the body.
Another right to the head. Kinchen is just virtually surviving at this point. Seems determined to stay in there, not go to the canvas. He hasn't experienced that yet, but Roldan's just taken the fight away from him. Final seconds of round number 8. And you can see
You got to keep your left hand high.
Eddie Futch
stand up straight, see? Yeah,
Seconds out.
all right.
working on those swollen eyes of Kinchen, whose face does not look at all like it did when the fight began.
You know, Tim, if I was in Kinchen's corner, I'd have to tell him, look, you're going to have to let it all hang out. You have to win by a knockout. You know, there's no sense talking technical stuff when it gets this part of the fight. I mean, you know, that's just about what it is.
And again, the relentless Roldan comes out and sets a heavy pace and backs up Kinchen. Roldan has been a whirling dervish the entire fight, non-stop punching.
Doing anything he wants with him, Tim. Padilla was starting to take a good long look at James Kinchen.
Yeah, and he should be too, because he's just not even able to punch back. And when he does, got nothing on it. Now his left eye is starting to close up on him. Kinchen is just a beat man, and Eddie Futch has come up. Eddie Futch has come up and stopped the fight. I think that is a commendable act on Futch's part. I think he has sensed for the last couple of rounds this man is going nowhere, and that was the kind and right thing to do. Do you agree, Gil?
I certainly do, Tim, no question about it.
Juan Domingo Roldan with a 9th round technical, well, it's not a technical knockout because it was stopped by Eddie Futch, the corner man for James Kinchen. I guess officially it does become a TKO, but not to the effect where the referee stopped the fight, but he wasn't far from it. Gil, you had just finished saying Carlos Padilla was looking very closely at James Kinchen. I think in another few seconds it would have been Padilla, not Futch, stopping the fight.
It was an impressive win for Roldan, as no one had ever dominated and stopped Kinchen before. Roldan then received a shot at Thomas Hearns for the vacant WBC middleweight belt, getting stopped in 4 rounds, but not before shaking the hitman on a few occasions. He campaigned for another year after that and retired after being stopped by Michael Nunn in a bid for the IBF middleweight title. Kinchen was 5 pounds overweight the night before this fight and believed that it was the weight drain that made him weak. Kinchen's team parted ways with Eddie Futch, and he had a rebirth of sorts the following year as he moves up in weight and gets a high-profile fight with Thomas Hearns. Kinchen knocked the hitman down before losing a majority decision, but his career fizzles out after he moves up to the light heavyweight division, getting stopped by Virgil Hill and Prince Charles Williams in title bids.